Ba Zambia, ba youth, Mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka Lord's heading, iliashilia bwino talifisama. Tulefwa intungulushi shamano. Mundo bile na makebi. Kaya kala kwali misebo ama bridge ba school na ma hospitals abantu bale mfwa bwinu impia shale sangwa mu matown na mu compound numba shisangwa fye muli bapompwe batile bakale tobu yantashi bakawa mya inchalo efyo batile numba abantu bale lila kumitengo shafya kulya imitengo ya fuel. Ifwe tule fire ma solutions te fya kulumbanya fye pa pepa. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fire lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikila intungulu shishamano abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tule fire infinity tule fire ulubuto imundu bile fye na makebi imundu bile fye na makebi. Baletila, rule of law, number bantu baletina nukulanda. Do you have a lawyer? Selective justice, momenso ya bantu ifunde lonse lifwilele abalya muntu onse. Hapa numba amachito kuingila na mashina nomba madata base bafwa ya chance no butungulushi bwa bwino manifesto yabo nomba yonse ni PF ngama solution malaide ya likwi kanchi ya maansasi ya likwisa abantu bale fwaya umutendele nsala ipwe ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia mundu bile na makebi mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fwaya lesa tapela tambika afye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano abakwete vision ya chalo baba kalubula bachelo na tule fwaya infinity tule fwaya ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. By you mule fwaya nani ba taxi driver Mwema farmers bashimaini kukopala uko mule fwaya banana bakasukulu Mwema zebige mule fwaya banani ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia mundu bile na makebi mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fwaya lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikile intungulushi shamano abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tule fwaya infinity tule fwaya ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. Mundu bile na makebi na makebi.
One of the things that we've observed, the violence in Central Province has escalated to very dangerous levels. We started with Chisamba, where a UPND cadre was found in the audience carrying a firearm. We questioned, first of all, this is a non-UPND cadre who ordinarily would not have attended the rally that we're holding. But he came there and he was armed. He actually had a firearm. So this indeed is very, very dangerous. We've seen a gun culture the gun culture growing in the UPND. We've seen them brandishing guns. We saw that during their intra-party elections in Southern Province. We saw that during the nominations where Honorable Gary Nkombo was attacked. So our colleagues are moving from pangas, are now carrying guns. This indeed is very, very dangerous. This was not all. When we came to Mukushi, the ground where we're to have our rally is near UPND offices. Again, a non-UPND cadre was seen brandishing a gun immediately before the rally. And we are therefore very concerned. We are concerned that in the UPND, they are embracing a gun culture. We know that they've been carrying pangas for a very long time, from the Mapatizia formula days. They managed to shield that, they managed to hide that and rub it onto the PF. And everybody believed that PF was a violent party. For those that may remember, from the Mapatizia formula, if you remember the elections in Mufumbwe was between MMD and UPND. There was a lot of blood in that particular election because the UPND had...
Central Province, firstly, we would like to thank the people of Western Province for welcoming us and showing up in their numbers without necessarily having to be bussed or transported to the venue. The love we've received is so overwhelming, and we can guarantee you that we will not disappoint you. We'll work to the best of our abilities and fulfill the promises that we have made. The President will address most of the issues of concern that have arisen, but I'll just tackle perhaps just a few issues that are national in character and perhaps issues that are really affecting our people. As regards the question of farmers, the question of buying maize from the farmers, it has come to our attention that the Food Reserve Agency has had it difficult to not only announce the floor price, but also to collect monies from maybe owing FRA. One such organization that is owing FRA is Eagle Milling. Eagle Milling, which is supposed to be a state-owned company, but is not a state-owned company. The directors and shareholders of that company are individuals such as Solochi. Solochi being a commander, I'd like to refer to him as commandant of ZNS, because even the shift to being commander in itself is an illegality on our part. It's an illegality because we know that ZNS has become what it was not intended to be. And as soon as we get back, ZNS will have to go back to its original purpose. We can't equate ZNS to other defense arms. It is auxiliary and intended to be an aid to the other defense arms. So with that said, it is regrettable that Eagle Milling, having gotten maize from FRA, has failed to pay back FRA for FRA to begin buying maize from the farmers. And it has also come to our attention that Eagle Milling itself is owned by cadres that belong to the ruling party. Many politicians are owing Eagle Milling. Eagle Milling is owing FRA. It is so disheartening that FRA, Eagle Milling have been conduits of corruption, conduits of misappropriation, conduits of abuse of office. That is something that we intend to tackle, and tackle to the very root. That is corruption, and our aim is to fight corruption in all its forms, including issues of abuse of office, issues of overreach, government overreach, issues of favoring persons that are close to the powers that be for purposes of personal or gaining pecuniary advantage over the institutions of governance or the institutions of government. That should never be tolerated. That should not be allowed. Everywhere we've been, farmers are crying that the floor price should be announced. They are having to sell their maize, they are having to sell their produce at very low prices because they are now being desperate, or they're now desperate in that they need to make ends meet. Our farmers make monies once in a year, once in a while, and when they make this money, they keep it and start planning for the next farming season. The next farming season is just around the corner. We're way deep into July, almost approaching August. What is happening is uncalled for. Government should wise up and do what is right by our farmers. At least let this be the last act of good intentions, or at least a good deed, the last good deed that they're going to do in relation to our farmers. Another issue of concern that we have noticed is that the
One Zambia! Mundubile! 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 Chor! Mundubile! Mundubile! So I'm your malushi, Yon Samarabish. 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 Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Muchalo chabulayo, tuleana. Mundubile, twaikala mafara o. Twaikala mafara o.
Wajabonse bakata. Abasubi nyoko ukwisa mitampya mumamayi vyapwila papene bambe nokulongo kuwelelamo yali amamayi yenu tulebi bwesesha mwambi okulabomba nefe mwambi okulabomba na kale na kale. One Zambia! Mundubile! 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 Chor! Mundubile! Mundubile! So I'm your malushi, Yon Samarabish. 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 Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Muchalo chabulayo, tuleana. Mundubile, twaikala mafara o. Twaikala mafara o. Wajabonse bakata. Abasubi nyoko ukwisa mitampya mumamayi vyapwila papene bambe nokulongo kuwelelamo yali amamayi yenu tulebi bwesesha mwambi okulabomba nefe mwambi okulabomba na kale na kale.
Kwa mwana mayo fwewe na Sakanya, fwewe na Kasenga, fwewe na Mwelu, fwewe na Mpweto, fwewe na Luapula, bonse mwapite vemba mwapita nelamba bonse mubebe atiawe titatule jutwaya shikulu kafike nipo ngamamu no muntu aisami be patio inge ba kingelo mkabe buino atio kabe poko ba wisokulu na ule kwa ingito shapa ingito yobe inshitana iringa inshita ya puya ekyo na mie wa pali nomba tuimanile bonse pamo ukukano bugufi na kinge twa kwato mweso kinge twa bapa bonse pamo ubukyushi bwakira ekyo batemenwe fiuma fiesu na pali ya nkimo kyo batemenwe iyo na wale minetela ko tunono ni ndala masheru tendala mashamuntu ni muntu ndala masheru bepusheni tanchi ushawarishwa kuno kupenda ninshi balepende minwe yangu balependenshi ekyo na bilomba lelo webana mayo webena abana ba mayo bonse twali wa tuine pamo tuileka abantu batuteike mu mfine yo tulefa tufume muri fimuli ukudeta takiringe twasumina kukana mfumie po mwenso pantu ikialo mhunta nshituleya miaka yaona ipwa kwalifya mapromesi.
Good day, thank you very much. And on this wonderful day, Wednesday, 22nd July 2026, with around 22 days remaining before we go to general elections, I think it's imperative that the country is kept together, continues on its peaceful path. And that's why I was very concerned when Honorable Brian Munduvile referred to the issue of violence, that they are now seeing gun-toting cadres amongst the audience, from the UPND attempting to disrupt our meeting. It's imperative that President Hakainde Hichilema condemns the violence. He's been extremely silent from the death in Kaputa, harassment of Gary Nkombo. The president doesn't come vociferously to defend our peace. It's his duty. He's the one with the instruments of peace. He's the one with instruments of power. He's the one that can determine whether our country can be peaceful or can go to violence. So the 5 deaths that have occurred so far are too many to justify any election. No violence should take place. And the complaints from the boys must be taken very seriously. The threats that they witnessed in Chitambo and parts of Serenje should be condemned, and the perpetrators should be put to rest. The issue has always been the UPND. The UPND is a violent party, and many people think that it's a PF. No, the most violent party is a UPND. They clashed with MMD, they clashed with PF. They are still clashing with other opposition. There is what was called the Mapatizia formula. If you remember, the late, may so rest in eternal peace, Axon Sejani, he was a minister under former President Frederick Chiluba. He was a minister of local government. In 2001, when Mazoka formed UPND, I think he was not among the founder members. So there was an MP who was elected in Mapatizia constituency. But when she lost her life in 2005, I think she was Grace, I'll get the details, I remember very well. She was a UPND MP, and when she died, Axon Sejani decided to come back. He had joined the UPND then, and he decided to come back into politics. And he, not necessarily to come back into politics, he was now under UPND, and he pursued that seat under Mapatizia formula. And the trouble is that he introduced this Mapatizia formula. In that election, it was one of the most violent elections in our country. They burnt government vehicles, they beat up electoral officials, so it was called the Mapatizia formula. The UPND says they were rising against electoral malpractice and electoral processes. And so they are a member of, the foundation of violence in the UPND goes back as far as 2004, 2005 in the Mapatizia formula. That's a matter we are discussing. Today we are discussing the issue of FRA. Remember, we started it yesterday that the crisis of FRA is related to the corruption that has taken place at ZNS. ZNS literally ransacked all the warehouses for FRA because they were doing a national program that was decided upon by the president. The president had embarked on a program to attempt to cushion the price of milling meal because it had risen to 450 kwacha. And remember, the president had promised the country that milling meal would not be more than 50 kwacha. So to have milling meal escalate, they found it in 2021 at 90 kwacha roller meal, 120 kwacha breakfast. And it escalated to 450, 500 kwacha in border areas like Shangombo, Mbala, Nakonde, some parts of Malawi, Chipata to Malawi. Those areas, price of milling meal even shot to around 500 kwacha. For the first time since the 80s, we saw the re-emergence of what they call smuggling, and ZNS was moved to guard the borders to stop the smuggling to the DRC. We saw the importation of GMOs. What happened is a program was put up through ZNS. Remember, the PF, and thanks to the PF, put up industrial milling plants, in Lusaka, in Impika, in Choma. I think there are those that were under construction in Petauke and other places. But they put up these industrial milling plants in Lusaka, is along near Silver Rest. So they said we have capacity to mill and produce milling meal that was cheap. And ZNS, Lieutenant General Solochi was tasked to run that program. First, he was given authority to import GMO maize from South Africa. I remember one of the journalists who blew that whistle was Thomas Ziambo. Instead of owning up that they are bringing in GMO, which is not allowed in our country, they arrested Thomas Ziambo, locked him up for many days, over 31 days, 26 or 31 days, instead of attending to the issue. And they came to finally own up to what Thomas Ziambo had exposed. And they stated that the GMO maize that was imported and was in warehouses in Ndola and Mufulira and Lusaka was destined for the Congo market. Come on, So they fed our people GMO maize, but they said the GMO maize was going to the DRC. And then they began to ransack, because at that time now, FRA had done an harvest. Remember when the PF came into office in 2021, they had 1.5 million metric tons of maize, and there was another predicted 3 million metric tons that was coming up in that 2021-2022 season when President Hakainde Hichilema took over. So they had the surplus. The country had the surplus in national strategic reserves of first 1.5 million metric tons, and there was a new harvest of about 3.6 million metric tons. It was one of the highest harvests that was coming up. And our friends thought Nisangwapo, and they exported that maize wantonly. Yet there was an El Nino crisis that was predicted in 2015. When El Nino comes, it usually affects the season for 3 seasons. We had it in 2015, and there was recurrence of drought in 2017 and 2019. So there was a warning already, and that's why the PF began to stock up. And that's why they could have 1.5 million metric tons, after feeding the country. The country has an average of 2.4 million metric tons of maize that it uses in both human and animal consumption. And so we could adequately deal with the country and have in the strategic national reserves of up to 1.5 million metric tons. When the PF and Edgar Lungu left power, there was a crop survey that had been done, and we're expecting a bumper harvest of 3.6 million metric tons. Abanensu, they sold everything to the DRC, to Malawi, to Tanzania. Yet there was an El Nino predicted that it would come. It comes every 10 years. That it was due to come in the 2023-2024 season. There's an organization called FuseNet. This FuseNet, you can Google it and you can subscribe. It sends a quarterly, literally weekly alerts. And the entire 2023, it spent that time on Zambia and Southern Africa. It's a US organization. It monitors the weather patterns, and it's linked to international weather satellites. And FuseNet, FEWS.net. So it's an international organization. You can subscribe to it. It kept on warning that Zambia was going to have one of the worst droughts probably in 100 years. And they were warning Southern Africa that in your planning, keep your strategic reserves, if possible import if you do not have, and so that when the worst effects of droughts come, our people will be cushioned and your markets will be cushioned because you will not be affected. Our friends ignored that advice. You remember Kangombe, Christopher Kangombe, the MP for Kamfinsa. He was quite technical. He brought this report to the House and told the Minister of Agriculture that, Mr. Minister, stop your exports. Stop your exports. Ichilala chileisa chikalamba. You remember that famous video, and we can play it, where Ruben Ntoro Piri, the agriculture minister, was saying, look, I'm an expert. I used to work for FRA. I'm now minister. The policy we have is we will never stop the exports. We will never stop the exports. And the drought came when they had exported and emptied the national strategic reserves. And we had that crisis where they were scrambling for maize. And now this is where the corruption set in. Remember, when there is COVID, while you are attending to the crisis of COVID, corruption sets in. We had drought, corruption set in. Awena Max Muwe, the Speaker of the National Assembly, everyone was involved in this. And I like his challenge to me that he has reported me to the police for alleging that he owes ZNS 771 million, which is about $4.3 million. Max Muwe's company owes ZNS over $4.3 million. I'm repeating it. And you record it, Max Muwe. I do not speak from without. Yesterday I was warning, including colleagues from our side, that don't allow forgery of documents. Or even if the documents are sent to you, examine them very clearly. Examine for all. Some documents are being planted on us so that it can take away the credibility of the genuine documents that are being leaked to us. Remember, I gave you an example of the upcoming Global Witness report that was to be launched in London. It's been reported by Reuters, Bloomberg, and all major international organizations about President Hakainde Hichilema's relationship with First Quantum, that they've supported him for 10 years. And before that report, another report emerged citing similar issues, and it purported to be from Washington Bureau of something. As soon as I looked at that document, I alerted my colleagues, this is a forgery. Someone is trying to attempt to undermine the Global Witness report that is being launched on Monday, so that it can take away, our people can doubt which one is genuine and which one is not genuine. So even in these circumstances, you'll be giving people like Max Muwe, you'll be giving them legs to allege that the documents we have are fake. Why? Because there's availability of documents. There are people that are publishing fake documents. Do not publish fake documents. Examine the documents. Because when we come with genuine documents, you create doubt in our people. They'll be doubting. But what I can guarantee you is the looting that has taken place at the Food Reserve Agency, the looting that has taken place under Eagles at ZNS, and the documents we have are genuine. Some are even a part of the court process, because if you owe $4.3 million, a legal process has to commence against you. Letters of demand have to be written against you. So the documents we have are genuine. And what Max Mue and his Western enterprises should do is just to pay. You have an opportunity before we go to elections, just clear what you owe ZNS, so that your books are clean. So that maybe in future people can say, Ali Lipira. But to say the documents are fake, to allege that you don't owe ZNS when we have documents and it's proof, to say that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, and the milling plant do not owe ZNS, and you want to say those documents are fake, come on, you're not dealing with children. Some documents are leaking from your own plant, Nelly Muti. And Max Mue, some workers you didn't pay properly, they are giving us those documents. So the documents are not fake. You can report all you want to the police. In fact, I will encourage the police to immediately go to ZNS and FRA and establish the facts that we are referring to. And that's why I like the challenge by Honorable Brian Munduwile and Makebi Zulu, who have put a challenge to the president. Mr. President, you are banding around calling us Wapompwe. Wapompwe bari ku bedroom, in your bedroom. Wapompwe, they are in your bedroom. I remember a similar crisis. President Levi Mwanawasa went to Parliament and alleged a catalogue of allegations against his predecessor, Frederick Chiluba. And he said Chiluba had stolen, plundered national resources, The following week, the First Lady, Mama Maureen Mwanawasa, was in Southern Province. A program that should cost something like 30,000, 40,000 kwacha. She carried 700 million kwacha. So, when the expose was done, it was very embarrassing. And there were even attempts, by spin doctors to attempt to say, no, she's the First Lady. Imwe. The experts have told you this program will cost 30 million. Why are you carrying 700 million kwacha? So similarly, the president has been very, very, very strong on these issues of corruption, calling his friends Wapompwe. But Wapompwe were in the bedroom. Wapompwe, they are in his house, lock and key. The Speaker, Max Mue, and others. The issues around the bigger issues that we've been discussing on this program, where the country is losing up to $3.5 billion a year since 2023. In illicit financial flows. $3.5 billion is being looted from our country every year. And the information has not been compiled by any other than the very board and management appointed by the president at the Financial Intelligence Center. So you cannot say this figure is bogus when we say $10.5 billion has been stolen in the last 3 years. And we are relying on the data, that you have. When we say, for example, that mining taxes have dropped to $200 million from $1 billion, in the last 3 years. And the data that we are using is the one at Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance is one of the most open and transparent ministries. They have a working website. They have a working Facebook page, and they drop a lot of documents. And even reports that have been tendered to Parliament, especially on debt and, and loan contraction. All the documents are there. So you don't have to rely on a whistleblower. The documents are available before the Ministry of Finance. And they just take advantage of our laziness to read documents, to download documents. They just take advantage of that. So the looting that has been going on at FRA, the looting that has been going on at ZNS, the hole that has been created, and the amount of money that FRA owes banks is huge. That's what has delayed the opening of the crop marketing season. It's not the moisture content woofy. Go to National Milling in Lilai. Go to any milling plant. You will find queues and queues of trucks that are depositing to those silos the maize. Where are they getting it from if the moisture content is high? And we know that the country doesn't have industrial dryers, something that Brian Mundwele had called for. Because, the farmer doesn't have to wait for moisture content up to July. Because what we do, we use a sun-dry mechanism. We let the maize in the field and then come and continue to sun-dry it to drop the moisture content. Amataba fenga ya kosa ya umako, what other countries do like Brazil and others is to get all that harvest and put it in industrial dryers, and within an hour your entire maize you gain 3-4 months. Amataba fenga ya kosa ya amba fyoku mafie. You get it and put it in industrial dryers like Brazil, Argentina and others that grow maize in large quantities do. The government mocked Brian Mundwele when he said that, And now here we are. The maize is dry. They are lying that the crop marketing season. See the language. Suresh Desai says, no, the maize is up to 18% because the requirement is 12.5% and below moisture content, so that you can avoid things like aflatoxins and others, and that you avoid wastage. The president has given them 3 days. Open those sheds and open those sheds and allow the farmers to drop, to bring their maize. So who's telling the truth? Suresh Desai, FRA chairperson, says it's not possible for us to open our sheds because the moisture content is up to 18%. The president has given them 3 days to open. So you can see it has nothing to do with moisture content. They are using the issue of moisture content as an excuse. And as we have seen from the private sectors that are buying, members of the private sector that are buying the maize in large quantities, it's not an issue of moisture content. So what Max Muwe has stated that he will report me to the police is very welcome. Max Muwe, what you need to do is just introspect. Look at the supplies that you got from both FRA and ZNS. And do not assume we are naive that we can be talking about things that we are not confident of. The person who's... You have been perpetrating something, especially Max Muwe. Look at the case that he has with Kasewa Mashila. Clearly, it's Max Muwe at fault. It's not Kasewa Mashila. But instead of suing Kasewa Mashila, he uses the police to take Kasewa Mashila to court, and Kasewa Mashila is being prosecuted. If Kasewa Mashila said something wrong about you, why are you taking him to the police? Sue him in the High Court. That's what defamation laws demand. But you are quick to abuse powers and abuse the police. You did the same to Nakachinda. Nakachinda just exposed, we had the press conference and we exposed that aflatoxins were rife in the market. Our people, of 3.5 million people in Lusaka, were being exposed to toxic maize. And they arrested Nakachinda, threw him up in jail, that he had alarmed the country. Didn't we have aflatoxins in the country? Didn't they recall up to 10,000 bags of maize? Wasn't an inspection done? The very thing we had blown the whistle on. We never come to the media. We never come to the media if our information is raw or incomplete. Nakachinda blew a whistle that the market has poisoned mealie meal. They said he was alarming the country, that he wanted the country to riot. When a simple inspection was done, and when our people began to throw on social media, it immediately became clear that Nakachinda had the point. But Nakachinda is sitting in jail for telling the truth. And so here, Max Muwe, I am telling the truth that he owes ZNS. And he says he will report me to the police. Come on, Max Muwe, check yourself. Find out where we are having documents about you. Just find out before you take us to the police. I'll be opening the phone lines. But before that, let's speak to the issue of vote protection. Let me just look for the communication that has come from the Electoral Commission of Zambia. There's been an update, and I'll tell you what the party is doing on our side. On vote protection, we'll regularly be updating you of nefarious activities taking place that you, the community, have to take guard. Today, there was a meeting in Chipata, at Chipata College of Education, where DPS and PEO called headmasters from Chipata district. This was a very alarming meeting because of what was discussed. So the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Lewis Mwape, remember Lewis was in Northern Province, he was swapped with the other lady that wanted to stand. So Lewis Mwape, Deputy Permanent Secretary in Eastern Province, and Provincial Education Officer, Brain Malambo, today met school headmasters. And their message was very singular. For you that are participating in elections and the ECZ has appointed you to man elections, you have to do you kept on using the word needful. And especially Brain Malambo, he was very, very direct. He says the headmasters have to organize the teachers to vote for President Hakainde Hichilema, to persuade the teachers who should persuade the pupils, who should persuade the parents to vote for President Hakainde Hichilema. You have people who are civil servants, public servants, and we have said that the indictment is on Secretary to Cabinet and also the President, who have allowed the civil service to be rendered a political machinery, an entire political machinery, something President Hakainde Hichilema condemned. He kept on firing people, firing every director. He said they were PF. He has done the same in a far worse situation. And Brain Malambo and Lewis Mwape gathered this meeting at Chipata College of Education, and they said they have money, side money that they've been given to go around the provinces to ensure that educationists, teachers, headmasters, and others do the so-called needful. This is extremely dangerous. This is where you communities come in. If you see officials like that having meetings, budge in, go and find out, go and demand. Because we know the role of the of the provincial education officer. We know the role of the permanent secretary or his deputy. Why are you allowing this process? Even you teachers, you are backed up by unions. Why are you not stopping this process? Very partisan. Because a post-electoral process is very harmful, is extremely harmful. You don't want someone to dissolve the judiciary like it was done in Kenya, because the judiciary became very partisan. But sometimes new leaders are forced to do that. President Hakainde Hichilema himself purged all state-owned enterprises, purged the civil service on the allegations that they had become partisan and that they were members of the Patriotic Front. He has turned the same institution now. It is a UPND infrastructure. Very regrettable. What happens if another government wins? What happens if Mundubile wins that election? So let me come back to ECZ, but this is what is happening. P.O. Lewis Mwape, muntu wandio wa family civil society, walishiwa. If there's anyone who knows the role of democracy, it's Lewis Mwape. He was at, he's been a long-standing member of civil society. In fact, he's among members of the civil society that were given jobs by President Hakainde Hichilema. You know, the McDonald's Penzis, the gentleman at Bank of Zambia, and others. They were members of civil society. So if there's anyone who knows how democracy works, it's these colleagues. But they've turned the very thing that they used to fight against when they were in civil society. That's what now they are implementing, even abusing their knowledge. Thank you very much. Let's go to ECZ. ECZ has finally lifted the suspension on NRPUP political campaigns in Kaputa. Remember, this is where we lost Humphrey Luisha, a member of the UPND who was killed in very suspicious circumstances, and they punished the NRPUP. And remember, Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu couldn't hold the rallies in Kaputa. I hope in this very difficult calendar we can find time to go to Kaputa. Kaputa is very key. If there is any rebellion that's happening in the country, it's in Kaputa. And this is where the UPND has two most senior members, who is Whitney Kapembwa Mtalena Lumango and Elvis Nkandu. These two come from Kaputa, and it has become a personal battle. That is why they've used the institution of ECZ to attempt to dampen the issue around the opposition campaigns by banning the NRPUP. The clash was between two parties, but they only banned the NRPUP. And look at the duplicity of ECZ. They didn't ban UPND in places where there's been violence. The young man that was killed, Stanley, that was killed for merely playing a song. He was a radio repairer by UPND cadres in John Leng in Chawama. UPND, very quiet. The ECZ is very quiet. Remember the ambush that was done to Brian Mundwil and Makebi Zulu's convoy by UPND. ECZ has done nothing. The UPND went and ransacked Bright Nundwe's campaign center. The UPND, ECZ have been very quiet. Instead, they arrested the security detail of Brian Mundwil and Makebi Zulu on allegation that they had destroyed Ebongandu's campaign center. Yet the ones that destroyed Bright Nundwe's campaign center were let free. The ones that ambushed Brian Mundwil and Makebi Zulu's vehicles were let loose. Look, in Gwembe East, where Mwene lost his driver, who was slain, that knife was aimed at him. He changed, he had the premonition, he changed where to sleep just at the last minute, but the victim became his driver. Again, suspicion, they've arrested some UPND. What has ECZ done in those areas? We've had 5 deaths, but they only banned, not both parties in Kaputa, but they only banned NRPUP. Why? You can imagine the embarrassment, the anchor of people that come from the north, Whitney Kapembwa, Mtalena Lumango, and Elvis Nkandu, then they lose in Kaputa. So the entire process was done to aid these two officials. And Elvis Nkandu, to his credit, is such a big organizer. And you must have seen the rally that President Hakainde Hichilema had in Kaputa. It was one of the biggest rallies in the north. But that was the idea by ECZ, that they dampen the morale and mood of the opposition in Kaputa to give leeway to Mtalena Lumango and Elvis Nkandu. And so today ECZ has announced that they've lifted the suspension and that NRPUP can begin the campaigns. And they've also issued now the formal list. Remember last week, the other week, ECZ issued a formal list of validly nominated candidates, 14 of them. And sadly, no one has resolved the issue of running mates. We've had 3 running mates that have run away, literally running mates that have run away. Citizens First, Moses Mawele has gone. Our dear sister, Dr. Katuta, the independent presidential candidate, her running mate has gone away. And who's the other running mate who's left? So there's 3 running mates. I remember the third one who has also resigned. Citizen First, Katuta. And who's the third one? Put in your comments for me. Sometimes when you are live, the facts escape you. But that matter has not been resolved. It should be resolved because of the law. You cannot file in nomination as a president if you do not have a running mate. And this is from the history of our country, where we've lost a president and we were forced in 2008 to go to a presidential by-election. And in 2014, to go for a by-election in 2015, in the circumstances where we lost our dearest president, Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, and Michael Chilufya Sata. So the new constitution in 2016 said, no. Let's take leaf from the rest of the world. the progressive rest of the world require that the vice president is also elected alongside the president, so that in the event that the president dies or the position becomes vacant, the president resigns, in whatever circumstances that the office becomes vacant of the president, the vice president takes over. But for the vice president to take over, the vice president must have a national mandate. And the national mandate then was to twin them, that the president must run with a running mate. So in these circumstances where we have 3 running mates that have moved away from their presidential candidates, are these tickets valid? Are these tickets valid? Yeah, someone has typed in the comments, thank you very much. Brian Mushimba. Brian Mushimba's party, Organized People's Party, my dear brother, left him as well. So these 3 running mates left their presidential candidate. Is that ticket valid? What are your views in the comment? Because for your nomination to be valid, for you to be accepted that you are validly nominated, you should come alongside your running mate who also meets the qualifications that you have as president. So, the case of Citizen First, Brian Katuta, Harry Kalaba, and Brian Mushimba, are their tickets valid? What are your views? Because no one has tested this fact in the courts of law. So it remains yawning. But you cannot file a nomination in Zambia without a running mate. Your nomination will not be valid. So then what happens when your nominated vice president deserts you, resigns, vacates, or abandons you? What happens? Put your comment, put your views in the comment. We come to vote protection. And I was saying that ECZ has now published validly nominated candidates for the 2026 parliamentary elections. We have an e-copy we can give you if you want to know who's standing where in your constituency. So that has been now published, besides the 14 that were published. Now this is for members of parliament. The ECZ also issued this very important announcement. Let me just get it. Yeah, our dear sister, Reverend Katuta, also the running mate, John Nyirenda, has run away. So ECZ has issued this communication that it wishes to inform stakeholders that the issuance of accreditation cards for the 2026 general election will commence on 22nd July 2026 and end on 11th August 2026. Now, this is work for our secretariat. Our secretariats, we have 13,529 polling stations. It is your turn now. Submit the names. Pick our people that can monitor these elections. Get them accreditation. For NGOs, get accreditation. And for the Tonse Pamosi Alliance, my singular advice is that as an alliance, you are lucky that you have over 20 political parties. If possible, your political parties, your alliance partners in the Tonse Pamosi Alliance should, as a political party individually, also get accreditation. Mwebantu wa Kwalisa, don't just rely on one party agent. Too many ama party agents abengi. The polling stations are many. There are over 13,500 polling stations. There are 9,000 voting stations. Why are there 13,529 polling stations and then you only have 9,000 voting centers? It's because sometimes one school has many polling stations. So at least accredit 13,529. And my appeal is especially to the Tonse Pamosi Alliance, whose candidate, President Brian Munduwile, is a leading candidate, toe-to-toe with President Hakainde Hichilema. In fact, many have given an edge. We are yet to conduct our own opinion poll. Maybe we should do it in the last week of elections. But have given President Brian Munduwile an edge that is likely going to win this election. If Munduwile is going to win this election, What are we doing to protect the vote? What are we doing to ensure that every vote will be counted? And that it's, one of the after monitoring elections and participating in elections since 2001, there are tricks that they use. They can be spoiling the vote of the opposition. So Munduwile's vote, they make it a spoiled vote. That is why you see in 2021, the third person who won elections in our country was a spoiled vote. It was President Hakainde Hichilema, 2.8 million people. President Edgar Lungu, 1.8 million. The number 3 who won elections is spoiled vote, 250,000. The EU, AISA, SADC raised alarm. You cannot have 250,000 people turn up to vote and their vote is spoiled. You cannot afford to do that. So you have to be very alert. So no, that's not true. In many cases, electoral officials try to play tricks. If the vote belongs, if he's a teacher, is in an area where Brian Munduwile is leading, maybe in the north, and Munduwile has got a commanding lead, they will try to spoil that vote. If Munduwile has gotten 1,000 votes, they may now put 200 at more spoiled votes. So you have to, elections are won and lost in a polling station. That is why on this platform we've been calling for vote protection, for a vote presence. And to you, the community, remember our rallying call is a polling station has 900 people. Registers are everywhere. Get the register. There's an online copy. If I in pa polling station muvotela pesa, look ngapadia wakaya padia abo 900. Begin to have meetings if you are of like mind. Wane tukachitashani. Aba kulusa kanga batutumino omuntu party agent. What shall we do? We should communicate with that party agent, protect that party agent in case the UPND wants to attack him. And at the end, go and count the votes. You are allowed to come and witness the vote. There's an attempt by the Electoral Process Act, which they enacted, to say you vote, you go away. But at counting, you should come back. In fact, you shouldn't go anywhere. Kuikala around the boundary of the polling station. If you are there. So for identify a polling station, see if there are other people you know on the 900, form a committee, begin to speak to one another. And on that day of election, you ensure that you mobilize yourself, you go and vote. If there is anyone that will protect this vote, it's the people of Zambia yourselves. It will not be the EU, it will not be the African Union, it will not be SADC. It will not be the observers from monitors and observers from civil society. It will be you, your party agent, and the community who have woken up at 05 to ensure that you vote. Protect that vote. And like I'm advising the Tonse Pamoze Alliance, don't just accredit one political party, NRPU, or Restoration Party. But they become alliance members, but they are discussing matters in the media, insulting one another. You don't know who to trust in this difficult period. So, yonsama alliance partners, na imwe, Bushe Nwa Secretary General Benu, na bobaya chitako register to monitor those elections. Civil society, most of the civil society were bought and they belonged to government. They were given jobs when Chipenzi, when Lewis Mwape and everyone, they are in government. But there are few NGOs. If you have an NGO, quickly update your records. They will be accrediting, you've seen, up to 11th August. Update your records quickly and go and to Mulungoshi and register your monitors. And if they are well wishers, abakwete kwendalama mwafa yako ka NGO ko mwingachita fund, mwafa yako political party mwingachita fund atine abali ya Eastern Province nala balipila ma 200 kwacha na nguma 500 kwacha nala bapela transport au donate a bus. There are many ways you can participate in this process. If you cannot be at the polling station, maybe you can hire a bus for those people that will be in a certain district. There are many things that you can do. For you at the community level, form polling station committees. If there is anyone that will protect that vote, it is the community itself that votes. They are the primary people that will guard the vote. Before we call in party agents, NGOs, and local and international observers and monitors. Today we are discussing FRA and ZNS. We say we have documents, we've demonstrated that they've looted ZNS and FRA. FRA owes millions to banks that they can't pay. And I know FRA is not a profit-making organization, but it should run prudently. When we give it maize grown on subsidy, on FISIP, it should sell and remain with money to buy in the next season. That has been the purpose. But here you are, FRA totally bankrupt, no money, and is relying on Ministry of Finance to give it money afresh. Yet it had maize. 3.6 million metric tons. It had 1.5 million metric tons. They said they had the bumper harvest last year. Where is the maize? The exports that you've been doing to the Congo, where is the maize? And where is the money if you have sold? So why are you bankrupt? Why are you not paying the banks? And the president has directed that you should open your warehouses in the next 2-3 days. Well, if it's not a campaign gimmick, you will be fooling our people, you'll be opening, yet you will have no money to pay our farmers when they bring their maize. And we understand that the looting that has taken place at FRA and ZNS, especially under that Eagles a brand, is so enormous. It requires an immediate forensic audit to establish where these billions have gone. And we know some of the key officials. At least for some documents I've seen, Max Muwe, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and some senior ministers, I have seen those documents. They are among the people that are appearing on ZNS and also on FRA. We call for an audit, an immediate audit, and the president has been very clear that he will not tolerate past, present, and future corruption. Mr. President, if your mantra is true, here, Wakavolala, Valmu sitting room, Muikerenawo, you are campaigning with them. They've stolen and they've ransacked FRA. Send in an immediate audit in FRA and ZNS. And the conduct of my dear brother, Lieutenant General Solochi, comes to scrutiny all the time. What he's doing at ZNS, it's not that the people are not aware. It's not that the people, what Ziele is doing, going to provinces, it's not that the people are not aware. They are watching. Don't turn noble institution, you turn them into UPND infrastructure. Don't turn, it's extremely dangerous, because then you are toying with our national security, with our peace, the very foundation which makes our country. When you turn noble institution with national and constitutional goals to become partisan. Why are you so desperate? If you are a professional, Mundubile will keep you. Makebi will keep you. Why are you so partisan that you think you do not have a job? Like Umnandi ambassador, Banda, Andrew Banda, who claimed that if Mundubile came into office, he would chase him. Who told him that Mundubile would chase him? Who told him? It's his own activities that will chase him. If you are professional, you will be in the office. Solochi, if you are professional, Ziele, if you are professional, you will remain in office. There's no need to fire professionals. Why? The civil service is a backbone. The public sector workers are the backbone of any government, past and future. All we ask is for you to be professional. Be non-partisan. Rise to the Constitution. You are guided not by the UPND, but by the Constitution. I was laughing at this young man, Tabo Kawana, who claims that ZNBC is providing balanced coverage. Is ZNBC providing... You know how they cover the opposition. For example, Fred Membe, Socialist Party, issued some disparaging remarks against Brian Mundubile. He's been consistent. He thinks that Brian Mundubile is not suitable. Fred Member as an opposition leader who dominates ZNBC Times and Daily Mail because he's disparaging another opposition leader. But the mass rallies, the mega rallies that Makebi and Mundubile are holding will not appear on ZNBC. But if there is anyone insulting, or if there is an opposition leader like Mao Sampa praising Hakainde Hichilema, they will say we have covered the opposition. Because they will say PF is opposition. We can't be fooled. Tabo Kawana, our people can't be fooled. That ZNBC is dead, and they can see through it. Mwanto Wakalesa, the lines are open. These were the two major issues we are discussing: the looting of FRA and ZNS, and the vote protection. So you can make the calls now. We already have a first caller. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller.
Yes, good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Yes, it's me calling you from within Lusaka. My name is Mishek.
Mishek, make your contribution,
Yes,
my dear brother.
Yes, please. Mwamba, awe ifintu file chitika mno chalo. Chile moneka kwa bunano kwa watu kwa baba kufiro kuishiva na tuishiva tawe le salina ifwe. Rubuto rurine chalo chesu cha Zambia. Bantu fyonze file langa fyama ama exposures ari chitika mubuteko wawa kainde. Mone ni fixed kuri ine fara impiesho vali kiri almost 1.13 billion kwacha. Isho ba pela ma balawa strategically positioned mu government. Mumone kwa mafi parliament ilia orona mukupela kwa ma contracts yakaena, though it's that's lawlessness. Mukupela ma contracts yakaena ale pela fiara kwati he can control, he can get what he wants from them. Parliament, speaker, deputy, pela ma contract ku agriculture kwati nifira chimama kwa agriculture na kubaba pela kule ma contracts kuchita supply kusendo bunga kufuma kunani olonga mwalolesha sana hii pattern, this kind of pattern. This is manipulation on a higher level. These are entrapments, how to entrap people so that you can manipulate them. You give them money so that at least whatever you want from them you can control. So ngatwa konka ke wino fye ubuteko bwanyunga bwangirapo. Ufide bwa understand aba kuita ma top position mu Zambia. Mumone kuzedenes ba kuliko mukuru kwa kuzedenesi na wakwata mwulu bali muri mubunga mulya ngamakonga sana. I think that's an allegation or assumption that I'm making. Even kukia ama minds na limbina baziyeli baraba commander na bero kuchibayingira mu baraba ile batumenya abantu batubepa yaba lumendo kulanga do that te abobeka. I think no mainka fena chief just once yaba pamulu yaba kulubako. I think this man is very sharp. Odo nangisho bale fo kuchita pano mbali ne kwa ati iyo isho mpia isho 1 billion ishi di munkongole abantu oboinga kontolola kwa ati kutuba naba for government ya for MP bati bika lelo statement era for 1 billion ingishemu na sho MP shosho iko kwenga shifumia kulifyo kuntuka kwati niko kongola fi is moving on a different level. Akainde tufile twa mufumia hapo ngatu alitemwe chalo chesu twa temwa nabana besu muno chalo tufile twa mufumia hapo akainde na bonza abakwate kachingali shuko ngali shamu kwa ati bale bapele mpia kutina twalomba kofyuko ati mwebeni fye ngabantu tontonga nyeni mone ni ichalo is bigger than one person lekeni ichalo abantu basale ofo bale fwa no mutungulu shuwe po busuma ngamwalole sho mutungulu sho bulelanda po ba Brian Mundubile na ba Makebi Zulu. It will be Zambia where most of the countries in Southern Africa, not only in Southern Africa, even other countries, will be benchmarking because bale fwa pangama institutions yaka very strong. So mukuchungona feine akaende is moving on a different level nangusufira ma contracts amanani wale sende fyabunga tale pela fyatu uji wonse pantu nikada nangushana sende achitirefi ukwebati akwati ofo alefo kuba in fact objective yako ofo ningabona fyapa objective yako ofo ya fyati he wants to rule, he wants to be in power for life, he wants to control, he wants to be in power for life. Now ofo people stikile ni time be ili fikwa kilesa naona mwana chao elekeni mulange kwa nene nebolesa.
Thank you, my brother. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. How are you?
Very well, my dear sister. I was looking for you yesterday. Na le milanda po njele wa mayowa mumbipiri. Na alishwenga ndawe karako kunuma kwa wa milling. So na lefa munje ushama track seko yari uko landeni po mayo.
Alabashimwamba chirepa pusha. Ba FRA balera ndati muri moisture content mumataba. Ifile chitika kuno, I came back from Central Province 2 days ago. Na mwishivati na pageti pamwa ndipa kuingira pale sangwa matracks. Ero na leranda, na chaba bantu bale settinga, no mbanga tuwalikweta ni emergency muya kuti wafumashani. Lero na chikopanga mwaya pa Facebook yandi, na chia pa NutriFeed. Mwingile mokufuma kuna ku NutriFeed, ku Great East Road. Kuli ya matracks na matracks ya mataba, aya dina moisture content. Aya mataba ba NutriFeed valeshita shinga bashimwamba. Pari 50 kg valeshita 200 kwachi. Ushete kuipa ya famoko. Ba HH baeba ba FRA. Tamudi content mu mataba kaina boni ba fama. Baisa abatarika titamwishi wofo mulechi tabamba nokulondolola moisture content ilimo. Lero na chikwata interview na journalist from one of the radio station. In fact, they have invited me tomorrow before I leave again Lusaka. Vale ipusha yaliama documents ya fumine. Anko ngole high profile people bakwete kuze Dennis. They are stamped, they are official. Na chiramwe bana chimwe ba journalist bali mieba tibali chita enact Freedom of Information Bill. Why don't you put up a query to Ministry of Information and Broadcasting? Vamieve. Ukuchirefe tuambo kufa bamubala suinga bamu. Those are official documents. Usheba journalist bamu Zambia bali kui. All of ashimwamba. Mieweko. Alamwila chitanda rent ayama podcast mkwata. Ine ku Central Province oko na ile. Nali ingira na mumishina mwishu abantu ofo bachita. Iyo following mumona pa phone. Mwila mona te bantu bale michita follow. There are a lot of people. Bala kwata abantu phone imo na vekala na ngwaba 30-40 bale mufwa.
Wow.
Ufilela anti kwa pa social media obote bufi. Alandemieva, I couldn't believe it. Olo ichi vipile kuli ba UPND nga fila ba president bachirala ndalero. Balela nda pamusebo o abantu beshi bati bali uchita concession for 25 years. Indalama bale bonfya n'indalama shesu ifwe shanapsa. Abantu lomba balela nda chabo bene ba pompwe ebo tulefwaya. Ebu fiwonde mieva. Alandemieva situation is on the ground. Olo muileka ukula chita emphasize kuri vote protection. But I can assure you kwebati the alliance has done a lot. Nombo mulandu wa mingala to I think inka mitumi na fefoni tukalandon 1-1 unka mieve. At least olo mbatu mukonka nyepo kulalanda padi vote protection. Elo nakuba ba ECZ balela ndati nga mwavota mufuire mwafuma. But maybe video hasn't realized kumaka yako alesa. Ba president waisala ndati mwikala fuma po you have to protect the vote. So isyalandile bayisize disyakulesha abantu, it's null and void because president ngalanda that policy. So monse tukalala opo tukavotera paka ngani 3 days ngani 1 week tukalaika fepa pene because the president has said we should wait for our votes, but otherwise katuishwa UPND opo bakawinina. And we have to make sure ifo fine mulela ndokula funda abantu besu ishe akuvota. It's our job na imwe nefe mkwate kwa madami nani kane vote parapa kuvotera mulela nga abantu fo bafuira okuvota tabafuira okufuma mukabokoshi aba shumamba na totera. I hope na askofo mwachiranda ama tracks
Mkwai.
Social media, and you can capture.
Yes.
Capture that mulelanga abantu.
Mkwai.
Nenga bala suminanga babale station.
Ngakuri moisture content. Yes. No, I'll go to your page. I'll download. Nerori ashmwa mrefu kunjewa. I'll call you tumfwane.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayo. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
We have callers. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ambassador, good evening, Nebo Mutale.
Mutale, good evening, and please make your contribution.
I want also to thank you. I want also to speak on voter protection, that which is a key thing as of now. Voter protection plays a very big role because all the works that has been done by the opposition, it lies. This is the right time that people have to put, the opposition have to put their effort, their money on vote protection. I've learned that we have people who have been given this responsibility to protect the voter protection. And my concern that I'm appealing through you, Ambada, and on this platform, that the leadership should look into those people that have been given the mandate to run with the voter protection. Loyalty plays a big role, Ambassador. Opposition, we cannot allow to sell our loyalty or this process of election. I understand that Kenneth Kamba is in charge of this process. I have a question on him. This is a man who has just resurfaced. He was nowhere near the leadership. He was nowhere near. This is a man who at one time, even after working and sharing very good relationship, in my view, with the former and the late president, when the late president lost when PF lost an election in 2021, Kennedy Kamba organized his boys to go and fight President Lungu at Ndozo Lodge. Thereafter, he went in isolation. Kenneth Kamba has never worked anywhere. Kenneth Kamba is one of the few PF individuals that has never been to police since the time he was PF lost power. And my question is a person who has been on spotlight, was a person who was working with the former president, why has he not been arrested? Why has he not been interrogated?
Thank you, my dear brother.
No.
Just a minute, yeah. You know, I do not allow personal attacks against individuals because they are not here. Unless I can call them, they defend themselves.
And that's the reason why you have given us this platform. If people hear such a thing, they should come and sculpate themselves. And the question is not him, but is the institution leadership of the opposition, because we are discussing the voter protection, and the person that they have entrusted to run this program, in my view and many other people, is questionable.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll find ways to get it.
Okay, I feel that you have cut me, but anyway, since the person is not here, let me speak to ZNS. ZNS, Ambassador, ZNS is a tool of corruption. From the word go, if you look at how ZNS was left under the commandant of Wamulenga, the ZNS was a basket, a food basket. At one point, Bamulenga, he was actually, some other people wanted Bamulenga to go to Zambia Army. This is how ZNS was attractive. But if you've seen how this commandant of ZNS, from the word go, there was some deals that after there was a company which they opened less than a month. That company was given a lot of millions of kwacha. So all these things, you can tell that this, or what we are discussing of FRA, is a scam under UPND trying to make the country go into poverty, because we should understand that food security for any nation is a key. And if you have people like HH allowing his cadres to go and play where food security is concerned, then the nation should actually stand and vote against them on the 13th of August this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Daniel from Cape Town.
Daniel, make your contribution.
I want to speak to the contracts that were given to these people, Madam Nedi Muti, Max Mue, and the others. But Nedi Muti, the time will come when she's going to pay for what she did. This is a result of dancing in Parliament as a cadre, while knowing that she's getting contracts through ZNS, here taxpayers' money, here Mazambians, and behaving like a cadre. Max Mue Navo protecting the president left, right, and center, knowing that they're corrupt. And the problem with the UPND, the people who are most talkative are the corrupt people. I'm sure Navambia Baba minds Navo, they've got a lot hidden under the cupboard. The youth chairperson, the youth chairman also, how he has amassed riches in a short period of time. The same people that were busy attacking the Lungu family over assets that a son of a president can normally achieve. They managed to embarrass the first family, yet the maize that is supposed to be for the Zambian people, they are putting money in their pockets, millions of dollars. So this is where now the opposition should get the votes that we are going to vote for on the 13th of August. Like you've mentioned, let every party in the alliance field people to protect our votes. Let no one think, no, Munduvido will do it and Makepi. Let Binwa Mpundu field these people, Kuchava, let on the same when the field these people, don't look for money when these people approach you. The benefits that you get is removing the UPND. Ababantu limbiteti vese nempia tabaka kwate impia shintu bare mibida ababa diponomba. But please, even if it's for free, die for Mother Zambia. Protect your votes. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hi, Ambassador. This is Queen Pumi from California.
My dear sister, make your contribution.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, the first point I want to contribute on this looting of the FRA monies, and it's just really sad to see that, you know, our top leaders who are supposed to be there, lawmakers such as the speakers, their names are also on the list. And what is disheartening is abantu abalela ndati nangufye chibe ifyofini obo tulefwaya babene. I think, you know, apa we have to talk to Ababa praise singer ukwebati Zambia has a lot of money. Not one ama fake reports being released by the people who are in the UPND government, how much money the country is losing. You know, we are talking, I think, 10 billion US dollars in 3 years. And we saw the president promising Kulama Airport. But at Avena, Zambia, Dubai was built with 500 million US dollars. Correct me if I'm wrong. So all the money that Zambia is losing, why has UPND failed even to build an airport themselves? Because it's not that they don't have these funds at their disposal. Like money is just flying out of Zambia. And even I'm praising mufima track. If you are they are comfortable with that. So I think not what nchito ya kufunda ma voters, abama supporters, baba mkabotolo. You know, they need to snap out of this and think for their future. I am a politics. I akula lumba. Fipantu ni leader ule chula. People were load shedded for 4 years. People have no jobs. They have no medicine. Mufi patala. But muleva lumba. Mwevena Zambia. Think of the future and how you are living. We need to improve lives. So otherwise, Ramamba, thank you so much. I hope we continue, you know, educating vote protection and also educating these praise singers who are still supporting UPND even after this biggest scandal. Like after today, I don't expect any person who knows what this UPND have done to our poor farmers can support this government. Thank you, I submit.
Thank you, Queen Pumi, and thank you for calling. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is Movita calling from Kafiwe.
Movita, make your contribution.
To start with, Ambassador, I'm really very sad. I'm very sad to notice that there are people siphoning maize and mini meal from institutions such as ZNS and FRA. I'm really sad with this state of affairs. Really sad. I've run out of words. I'm really sad that such things can happen in broad daylight in this country. It all goes to it all goes to show the levels of white collar crime which has ransacked this nation. I hope these people will one day be brought to book when we have rightful people that will have that will run this country. I'm really sad to have noticed about what the happenings at ZNS and FRA. Then secondly, Ambassador, I would like to also express my sadness on ECZ. They managed to ban NRPUP in Kaputa, but up to now, they have not acted on the happenings in these other places, such as Chawama incidents, Chawama murder case, and the rest of the country. It's really surprising why ECZ is trying to play double standards like this. They are supposed to lead by example, but to our surprise, they only banned NRPUP in Kaputa, but they have not banned these other parties in these other places such as Chawama. Then on the issue of civil servants, these civil servants in Eastern Province, Ambassador, time for reckoning is coming for them. You cannot force people to vote for your candidate. It's better you let people make their own choices. You shouldn't be involved in influencing people or canvassing for votes when you know you are a civil servant. Otherwise, when the government changes, these civil servants will be very sad. They will really be sad. Then coming to lastly, Ambassador, maybe on the issue of voter protection, we should continue to labor and talk about these polling station committees and so on and so forth. Yes, like you have been talking about it, that even us individuals should start taking steps. I, for one, have started slowly.
Nice. Have you identified your polling station? Have you found out any other person you can begin to talk to?
So far, I put up a notice in our WhatsApp group.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That's what I want to hear. That you as a voter in your area, you've identified your polling station, you've looked at the register, and you've begun to invite others, and you are putting up a WhatsApp group. Wonderful. I'm grateful, my brother. That's what we want to hear. Well done.
I've really put up this notice in our WhatsApp group. So I'm yet now to tell them that those that vote from this polling station, let's form again a sub WhatsApp group.
Wonderful.
For all.
Yes.
So each polling station will have its own WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Now, the only thing I'm seeing, after we make these polling stations, whatever, we shall need to be reporting to some authority somewhere. Maybe
yes, correct.
You got the constituency level.
Yeah.
So on that one also, we need. It's very difficult to make the people up there. To bring an idea to the people up there. So on that one, that's where maybe I would ask Ambassador
to come in. Yes.
Possible.
No, my brother, you are right. We have to do that, but that's secondary. First of all, you just as a community, as Zambians and as voters, form that polling station committees. Then it is easier for Celestine Mukandila Zumanzimba and Kennedy Kamba then to say, could district yuko, not kwatako wa Kampandwa, who can come and reach the constituency, who can come and reach the polling station. It is easier when we as communities just form those committees, and then it becomes easier for Lusaka to coordinate with them. But Lusaka should play a role. But Lusaka is just registering party agents to ensure that each polling station has a party agent. But you yourself as a community, you should. Let's make this a community issue. Thank you very much, my brother.
Yes, thank you very much. Otherwise, we are on it.
Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening, my dear sister.
Okay, I'll remain anonymous.
Yes, anonymous. Make your contribution.
Mwamba, ichi chitikadero inena chimpesha na pamusawo. Max muwe na grupu yavo. Ushapane kubengalo lechalo filafine kwa ti business. Shuwa. Ababa le support ba UPND na ngubale landa na kuma radio station yuko. Ushafuria fitete kutumwa mwana mwati fisuma ichalo chile apantanshi langubali bula fe chalo bambo kuchakanya bamba fyo kwakanatiwe kuti wabule fimunge fiwastisha abantu balasha alafye ifo tule pange mpio kula pangire mpia pali ifwe awole samukulu elo le sala sebanya tuletotera tubalesa pa kusebana basebana weza shibenkaka na shisebana twakulashe ba wanu ku radio station kutira imwe kampeni kutufwalele mpia mwila tubile mpia mumano shuwa fyaba kuluvonse bali yapanga komiti uyu sheshani bala sasukela bazedenes bamebe kofia mano kashe ba ma problems unga tulefwayo unga sala bantu nabafwa bali palula business bakwata business pali ifwe fasigayo fyaletere isi yeo kwena imwe isi otalala no kulala mule chitefi ufungane isingi tati mukala kona pasho nga tonto watu chikasi chiruvene pali ifwe chiruvene pali ifwe mfofweka kabi numulesa mukumeneka soso abantu bose mukutuchinga bata mukula fwati abantu bakabivote imwe okuvota balya takuvota emfwa ukuvota government ya UPND kuvota fyokufwa ukufwa fye completely ukufwa bantu balya abantu basangwa ishishi befe ningalondo baba president wala bantu ko benga batita katuishi bantu nakabebi nakeshi bechichitike mwisambala chalo kuli ba ZDNS nakeshi bakozi awo tapire kala bulu chalo mwanji nyero nomba naisa kuma protection ama voters aba kuvota ba Mwamba mutauni batuko ete problem ikule kwa kuba tight security no control abantu nikumishe aba abantu bakwete target yako mushi bali temwe chimfulunganya kwa mukufulunganya abantu balaba ne beka mushi balaba loimba bala mukuvota bene n'abatanda limbi n'abashitano tuntu eko chibatwale kulya bakulefu kwa pana security balaba ntolo lokubebo ko bati mulendefi bantu kwanango oliweka ababa nensu tebantu n'abali fuma mu buntu kale ndana mumone mfwefe shafula ishabula okulanda bali fuma mu kale ukukukala fwefe bali nafyo mu opposition bakukala bali kwa bamwe nati ba PF bali fitita ero lesana wali kwa tusholwa safi tumpula muri bena fatumpukira na kumya abo kuma constituency yabo ekwabelo kutwane kwabelo kuchitafinje kwabelo kuchitafinje awo kwena lensanile sala mwe bantu alontu ikatane.
Thank you Maya.
Fya kubika XX tarifile yafu mapanse abana betu bamota bavota po elo bali amukuvota naba basha sana ko baka kuvota tabeshi byati ngachapula mu chakita mushanini chaba chaona ikatla taba sport.
Thank you. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
It's me, Ambassador Dr. K from California.
Dr. K.
Professor Kalonde.
Yeah, Professor Kalonde,
yes.
Kindly make your contribution. Thank you for calling.
I just want to reiterate first and foremost the statement that was made by Bamumi Pili about how you are contributing to our nation. You know, sometimes to Tontonkanyati, what to contribute to the country is by doing something physical and doing something that is profit making immediately. The profit of what you're doing right now will be seen in the future of the nation, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And as I've said before, you have made a difference in terms of the political scene of 2026 elections. You've enlightened millions of people in Zambia, and many more are learning more about what is taking place in our country through your podcast. Thank you so much, Bamwamba.
Thank you, Professor.
Next thing I want to talk about is the contribution of I'm sorry to say this, the so-called learned people in Zambian politics. It seems like people with these titles of professor, doctor, whatever, we don't want to participate in the, in terms of situations like what is taking place in Zambia today. Katushinga turaimona titwaliwa above everybody ngachabashani. I can really say thank you to Shishua for what he does and for the message that he sends to the people of Zambia, for them to know what is taking place and the opposition he has put against this government. I really appreciate what he does. The other thing is, I can say thank you, but I have to talk to my young brother, Dr. Kasonso here in the US. He does something, but in his own different way. The rest, please, render your voices to what is taking place in Zambia. People want to hear from you. People want to learn from you. You should think about the future of your children and your grandchildren. If the country goes astray, it will affect them also, even if you are gone. So participate. Render your voices, render your experience, render at least what you know how a government should be run. That would help us a lot. The last thing I want to talk about, actually, if you FRA, if you are Zambia National Service, it's a disappointment. And to be honest with you, no, up to now, the government has not told us how $80 million went to China. I don't think anybody can send that amount of money without knowing of Bank of Zambia and Bank of Zambia not informing the president. I don't think that can happen. I think that is wrong. Number iya kwa Kenneth Kamba bakalamba mpose kwa mano because this will affect us. if at all we don't look at it critically. It might be wrong, he might be the right person, but we don't know. But the best thing is to look at it critically. Thank you, Bamwamba.
Thank you very much. Yeah, first of all, I couldn't allow the discussion of my dear brother Kenneth Kamba on the forum. I'll be unfair. He's not here. And, he's a senior member of our party. I don't want him disparaged in any way. But if there are any concerns, I can speak to him and I can speak to the leadership. But you know that I can't discuss internal matters here. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Oh, my name's David. I'm calling you from Eastern Province.
Yes, my dear brother from Eastern Province. Make your contribution.
Eastern Province. David Moyowambuya.
Oh, wo makwenyan muchwani.
Kina yo mlamu kina yo.
Shangwe. Make your contribution, my dear brother.
It makes me sad. It makes me very sad because now I've realized why this cybercrime was introduced. It was a way of hiding crime. It was a way of hiding crime. That's the only explanation now. The dots now, the puzzle now is, when you're trying to fill up a puzzle and you wonder why the dots are now, it's making sense why this cybercrime thing was brought in, was to hide the crime. It's very sad that Zambians are subjected to eat mealie meal, which is very expensive. And someone like Mark, one person is owing so much money. It was sad. We Zambians, I don't know why we can even campaign now. When the American ambassador, the entire ambassador of American ambassador stood and cried, broke all the protocols and at the press conference and cried to the Zambians to say, these guys are even stealing the medicine, which is donated by the taxpayer, American taxpayer. He cried on our behalf. And I wonder if someone can still wear a t-shirt, a red t-shirt, and go and campaign for this man. These guys are very cruel. Very, very cruel. Not even talking about how his latest predecessor lay in a morgue for more than a year. Let's not even talk about that. But you touch the basic, the staple food for the Zambians. Imagine how many people could have eaten that mealie meal, which markers, wherever is taking it. How many Zambian families could have survived? Let's be fair to this country. This country is rich, the people are hardworking, but we don't even see what we are doing. He went on and went on, Mapompwe. That's why I said, in my article, and one of my articles, I said, look, we've got courts of law, we've got the police, we've got ACC. If you call in PF thieves, what are they still doing walking around the streets? I was not against the PF, but if you accuse me of stealing from you, the best thing is take me to the cop shop, take me to court. You can't keep on calling me, giving me a name, a stigma, which I don't deserve. And politics in Zambia, our multi-party democracy, is still very new. So people shift from one political party to another. We are not yet stable like America. America is 250 years old. And we don't know how long that democracy of theirs to last, how long it's been there for them to have two political parties. And when you look at what happened in the last three political parties, these guys completely didn't want opposition. MMD is gone, UNIP is gone, PF is gone. So really, what did he want on the ballot? But that's what I always I ask people in our conversations. What's the difference between Kenneth Kaunda and HH in terms of internal democracy? Because Kaunda stood alone every 5 years. But at least Kaunda was man enough to realize that the Zambians have said enough is enough. He was man enough to even cut his term because he listened to the Zambians. For that, I give him credit. But do you think this man is the type of man who can even listen to anyone? That's why Shishua is asking, can this man accept the results from the way he's behaving? But why will now with all this theft under his belt, all his people are stealing and looting FRA, the staple food of Zambia. Do you think he will really give up power? That's the question we should ask ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are so many people waiting. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador. Niwa Munkonge.
Ba Munkonge mwabombe mwa wantu wakwalesa.
Yeah, mkwae mwabombe nkana.
Make your contribution.
Mkwae mwamba first chimocho ndefo kukoselesha kwa bantu. Ine pano pombelele newone muntu akwebati. Newa lero lekesho kwebati leadership bamwamba yabakwino chabana shani. Nombanga tuibaba shikuranga twarolesha amadezi ashereko. Madezi na achepa. So kuranda pali leadership na pama behavior ntunguru shishimbi chimono kweba twebene twaambo ku historic ama elections. Elio chimbyo cho ningakoseleshako uteko kwaba Brian Mundubire na ba Makep Zulu. Ichintu namba wano cho bare bombera kwechidi sana ize chakubike funde munshira. Ostepo ndara meshingi because dire funde okolia banomba baliri onaola ili akwebati president yambo kuibombera office vice president yambo kuibombera parliament yambo kuibombera separation of powers ya government barefwa nga bayikatanishe nga start drive kuteka so chile function senga bafika tako automatically nishina katalism yapwa because hapa li separation of powers nishi wonsena baliama civic workers, civic leaders, automatically tetu tuwale mwana behavior yobe. Filafine chaba mwa companies, haya kosha mafunde. Na ngunuwe wacha akorwa, nga wayapa lianga baku pemesha nishi iwe njito ya hapo. So wacha akorwa, warai kontrola. So if kabana government, fikambira mkati, so katalizi mute ishu ikuru sana. Na baraba ntabafu waku iranga mano, kwa tina bakwa chamano kuchira ama leaders temano ya kalabo mbama funde ya nchito ya haibu mwebe na Zambia condition of service rafina makampani ya kwa tama funde yofia babantu babiri barabura icharo chenu ya mafunde mwabikira ya kwa batintu ngurushi chifulesha bomba so MP ya fuile ya bomba so kansera fo fikaba so ifintu fine fikaba automatic so for one to teach tuishike sana what is important is introduce pari vote protection nama issues ya kwa bati chitwapera ba HH the chance ya kwebati bayingisha offside twisure sana amenzo if you fya kuita fya kuikontrola tikesa ikontrola na alite mwana bakambwiriro ba strange ndoza ama president bali bomveshe ichibemba cha kwebati nkara mungaye mamumushi nangu mwalila kacha ali bashani wala mfafa to nkara munayi makufuma na kasembe oyafuma norukasu after ngwaipaya ili nkara munomba mwaikara banshi mwaranda koneli ya shi nkara mofo ya mishu pero palasi mwaibu ma issues mwakwete baliranda mashiwa ya suma sana so na fofo fetube tuchitoko tuikere tuipushe bushe muno mu adomo njikere abantu baba Mundubire mure mone kabale funda abantu ma vote protection ngamwamona ko wajoko muberere takure mone ka abantu abale sensitize abali kuru baliro roba opposition mwababa sakamana mwatoro orubali mwaipusha mwaibimba mu Einstein tufikire po eriyo chintu chimbyo cyo ndefo okuranda pali fifire chitika tuibula max musimuwe na nani abo to abarumbura beka na banani to abarumbura beka na tuambo kura rumbura babantu which means twara samba ba HH tabarefai ko kubasamba barefai ko barambe sana chimwe chine no akabwala nga aisa mukwiba panga ndapamo beze komanda mukuru wabaka bwala arapera ma direction iwe wala ikara papa gate ule lole shabaleisa iwe wala stahambu chuwa fumina pakumurasa lero na iwe wala tefura komanda pera ma direction efe wala iba olo imwe babiri mwala ingira nga mwangiro mu naba rumena bakashonse mu bafule tapali wa kuranda ko ni komanda ule bapera bala ma direction uraka bwala komando ya bapera baraba kabwala bari umufira kumukurulya wabaka bwala bara mibombera pali fyonse badu pangira operation aliumo so fyonse fifire kitika mu government yesu twambye okura kondemo muntu mo uyolinga president skando ya kitika ku EOF master planner ifi achitika kuefwala master plana ifi achitika kushani so tumukondeme sana oro tubombeshe no kumufunyapo because nga tuambo kuraranda pale ama individuals chara para kwa tuambo kumusamba babonse aba ma inchmen barepo ka direction yokufuma kuli ena firafine baka kabana kachinda direction yali yakwe bati nimwe ba judge ikateni bana kachinda it's the same direction yafumine iwe simuwe warateberera FRA iwe nani kane masebo warateberera Ministry of Health no kumuranga amatactics arateberera mu Jackie Mwimbu na yo Ministry of Home Affairs yo arachitefi one criminal director so tufure twakondema no kurorekesho fyare prana ara ibashana amavotes twisuri amenso tuombere chapamo oroba mwamba na ramye bakuparasitiri mbinji kusheko ama question kumbali noti apa pamurandoa vote protection but vote protection wonse mwabali munche ndesha kusana ifile tufunda ba mwamba ngamwa fya titakuli NRP abale mu polling station yenu saka maneni na namba ba mwamba mwalishi ba mwamba na barabambya bakiranda pali vote protection tumwa bapera namba yandi twaranda kwefya munkama baraba kirondorora wino sana abarangira tina bambo kupanga ama committee yero bamwamba ndeye pushakonga kutuma kwatako ka format kambi aka brain kutumwa mpera ko pako bati barabantu abarepanga ama vote protection parallel structures ya kuchita protect ama votes imbito ambo kuraba pera ko pako bachire kalinga ko weti ngabarere mbapo abantu barasitana bwa ama vote protection mu nani kane mu polling station atotera bamwamba nshishibe chichongo nde umfwa ngachire umfika noko na pera mkwaje.
Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello caller. Hello caller. Oh, he's muted himself. Okay, I'll take the last 3 calls and then we'll close. I'll take the last 3 calls and then we'll close. Kindly make the calls before we close. There's so many people that we're calling, and you know, sometimes our callers stay longer because they want to explain, but make your call before I close. We want to hear from you. Oh, wonderful. Maybe we are done. Maybe we are done. So today we're discussing very critical issues regarding the looting of FRA and the looting of the Zambia National Service. Information has emerged that literally ZNS was looted by senior members of government, senior members of the party, and some names have come forth. Can you imagine an ordinary media director in Maximum owing $4.3 million, 77 million kwacha. Kashinga niwa ngama teachers ingaripile hiyo 77 million kwacha. It's a lot. You can employ teachers on that amount that Maximum owes. Hello caller, I'm trying to close, but you are lucky you have called. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Mwambandi muntufye naracha fino muntufye ndefo wishibisha kufya bena chalo kwebati ba UPND misango shabale konfyo kuibira mwana vote shirisha pusana ine panonde tumani ne civil servant na ikuwa tomu andi naoni civil servant ari ntumina linkinga mrefu wana imwe narani tumina iyo linki efo iri anje vero kwebati ngawa iwe ingira muri linkinga waingira wingishemo NRC namba yobe wingishemo ama details yonsoko bombera ati ababantu baletwebo kwebati bale ipera fyomo babero yumunandi waku southern so injolo ko bati babebero ko bati nga bapita bakesa bakala bonfye kabanga database ko bati bakese mukula bapera ama position mu manchito lero ine after link ya isa le shokwe bati awe link taiberede efona keno kwingishira mu NRC na bakwate emisango eshapsa n'eshibesho balefo kwibira mu linki narami tumina mwarayi mwera mwebene tebufi mumonefo iri parine namba yenu bamwamba so shishi balesendera ama details y'abantu kupitira muri omusango ero chimbi chintu aba akapokola bayingisha bali 4 pin ushena mwishuwo kwe bati nababebo kwe bati bayitandala ko kumayanda ero nga babwera bakabwere na NRC ushe efo chifuiro kuba yaisha ma NRC balefo okwe bati abana babwere nayo ero ishibisheni chalo futu bamwamba bebe ni okwe bati abantu abana bakwata amapange 2 weeks eshereko balefo okwe bati bakekate BM8 na MZ so beshi chalo chishi okwe bati bakwata amapange shimikereni chalo beshi okwe bati bakwata amapange yakufo ikataba abantu ero nga babe katachala abashani Busheba ichile matamuna katata imwe tamonfo takuwa kwa kwalesa takwa mifinina imwe baume bushera ngfeli bufarawe moti mwachira magaya kwalesa imwe baume lekele ni kwa banenu lekeni babombe ne charo lekeni lesa akapingule pa 13 noti uyo msango mukwete Bushomulo posu mino abantu abakaere ababaleru omlandu wa imokalalanda pona musala akanu abantu bale yipaya Bushabu fyashwa msango shani mweba umena ngumwabulo mutima teti mwaleka abantu baleko kuipana ishwirya mufyashinga mwayima n'obukali mweba amakadazi bonso kwe batire kenyu kulasumye miropa imo muleta mbafye bushemuletiresa kweno kwaikala na sekera mweba umeimwe ala baba ume demye bafutu kuli umuntu mo ale kupalwendo ale ya ku Livingstone it should be 3 months ago asanga traki yo traki ale ya ku southern province era yo traki aishire fo kuira muchirindi aishire FY mininebere first mbona abantu abapusuka imwe mulifye bwino tulifye bwino abantu bayishire mukanyo kulukuirango kwe bata abo balifye bwino kufo kumtamsha patali no mbecha ayishire mulengo kwe bata pose kwa mano ayishire mone shati nalire mbwe lya ICZ pali uyu muntu walensha track idia era no mbaisara ndaebere muna muri track mwayikira bakapokora abalifo Nombali ya mwana bamoneka ninti nomba ICZ na chitrack ebere na chikonka efambira okuchikonka okumoleko chireya chira chitrack chaishire konke chaishire koneka pafamu yabakateka ama ballot paper yadindwa ifinde mieba yali pitakale nabasunga nombanga tamwaya ekuma southern province uko muikate bwino abantu abantu abakosa baye ikalako unotifira baleshira wira mabalot mufimuti ala ndemieba akabonfye mingalato baba ba consulate ba ku Tanzania ba Bruru baba akateka abo abayikaloko ku Tanzania ba Bruru kazinga baba imbenga babani na bakwata mabalot bafu afyenshira yakuyengishishamo Ralefu afyenshira kuyengishamo na bapekanya kale balefu afya pako batibaka apishe mwebe na Zambia fwaeni nshira elo uburoba twayimo bwakwa uyukate bwagulu bwakulanda pakanwa bulu bwapa makufi ififine sale bachita expose kala makatupoka ya kumubiri tientu muwombere kumupashi na tashababwa bamwambana abantu bonse.
Thank you very much. That was my last caller, and she has contributed and she has brought out all that information. We want to Akwalesa. We will see you tomorrow, and thank you for your contribution. We'll continue to discuss these very issues that are very important for our people.
One Zambia! Mundubile! 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 Chor! Mundubile! Mundubile! So I'm your Malushi. Yon Samarabish. So I'm your Malushi. Yon Samarabish. So
So I'm your maluchi. Don Samarapi. So I'm your maluchi. Don Samarapi. Tupele mada Zambia. Kunga umewafundwa. Tupele mada Zambia. Kunga umewafundwa. Muchalo chabulayo. Tuleana. Mundubile. Twaikala mapara o. Twaikala mapara o.
Bose bakada abafumi nyoko ukwisa mitampya mumamayi fyapwila papene bambe nokulongo kuwelelamo yali amamayi yenu tulemi bwesesha mwambi okulabomba nefe mwambi okulabomba na kale.
Ba Zambia, ba youth, mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka loads heading. Iliashili ya buino talifisama. Tulefwa inchungulushi shamano. Mundubile na makebi. Pamiaka ya kala kwa limisebo. Ama bridge, ma school na ma hospitals. Abantu bale mfwa bwinu. Impia shale sangwa mu matown na mu compound. Numba shi sangwa fye muli wapompwe. Batile bakale tobu yantashi. Baka wa mia inchalo. Efyo batile